Hi, this is Henry. Um, my Chinese name is Huang Hongliang. My grandpa named me that name. I'm coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts, where we're on self-quarantine. And I'm really thankful to be speaking to y'all at my grandpa's funeral, this far away. I'm gonna read to you a clip from a short story I wrote based on my grandpa, or memories I have of my grandpa. I wrote this in 2009. I think it was my freshman year in college. So, my grandpa gardens. I remember early Saturday and Sunday mornings hearing shrubbery rustling and the patting of sandals and knowing it was my grandpa come to our house to plant persimmons or guava, or to fertilize what he planted last time. I'd be in bed, and at the sound of a gravelly voice murmuring in foreign words and notes, I'd blink the sleep out of my eyes and crawl to the other side of the mattress where it abutted a window. I'd peek through the shades into the morning mist to see my grandpa in sprightly colored nylon trunks, a loose-fitting button-down over his undershirt, and a baseball cap, kneeling over the soil plots, a small shovel in hand. I'd tap the glass, and he'd look over, the sun glinting off his spectacled eyes. I'd wave my hand, and immediately his eyes would crease in ways upward, and his lips would part a little, so you could glimpse in between his teeth. It was a smile on the verge of chuckling, one that was loose and comfortable, not the polite clenched teeth in some portraits that one wipes away after the flash of the camera. It was a smile where the mouth dropped a few degrees and hovered there, that seemed to breathe a silent heh. I guess when your mouth drops like that, you've been through so much, chewing, bantering, yelling, laughing, your jaw muscles are too worn to restrict any joy behind clenched teeth. I was his grandson, and I'd smile back, wave my hand again, and get up to watch cartoons with a bowl of milk and Lucky Charms. Sometimes my grandpa would take me to my hall or fiesta, and he would buy me a sweet, before eventually driving back to my aunt's house where he lived. 10 years later. Mom, what's that smell? Oh, the it's rotten fish. Gong's burying the rotten fish for the guava tree to fertilize it. Henry, take it outside for him. Go. I took some bottled water out of the fridge before I went outside. It had to be hot enough to make the fire ants skirting around the deck sweat. At least the guava trees had the empathy to give some shade. Hi Gong. Hi Tuibo. He chuckled, "A Liang," and took the water. Gong ai Liang, Xiu Hubo. I asked him if I could help. He chuckled again. Ho. Mo Gong to ga mi. Hiam bo yigai to bo to hiam bang yigai mi mao bo hoi kyu suit. Something about keeping the cats out. He saw that I didn't get all that, so he motioned his hands through the accumulating flies, gesturing to the anti-cat devices. Bricks, several gallon jugs of water, and a few big old restaurant-size Kikkoman soy sauce plastic barrels. I took a swig of water and followed his lead, started to dig, my hands pushing and kneading, then scooping out the soft, silty soil. A bead of sweat rolled off my brow and landed on a worm with a steamy sizzle. Through the buzz of flies, I could have sworn I heard an ah. The holes were about a little more than a foot deep and just about wide enough for each fish carcass. Gong worked away, all the while muttering something about a funeral he'd gone to the other day. The man's favorite fruit had been persimmon, and in the feast laid out for the deceased after the wake, persimmons were not served. I felt kind of sorry for him, but I couldn't help but think that a person's taste changes when he becomes a spirit. Gong was talking louder now, something about America and then something about Hainan Island, his birthplace. I looked over at the persimmon tree that Gong had planted in a patch of soil on the opposite side of the lawn. I was noticing how big it had gotten, how far the branches stretched, when wet, silty fingers yanked my earlobe. Gong was on his feet, yelling, to no one in particular, and I couldn't understand a thing he said. My hand rose to massage my ear as in shock, and Gong's outburst propelled his voice in peaks and combustions. His face began to redden, his eyes shone, his body tremored. Holy cow, I thought, my grandpa's gonna die. I snapped out of it, and just as I was about to run back inside to tell my mom or to dial an ambulance, his face relaxed, his eyes went from a flame to a smolder, and he squatted back down. I stood there frozen, not knowing what to do. Gong ho bo? I asked, tentative. Ho. His voice back to its normal, earthy, quiet register. He coughed and took off his cap. He drew his vein-laced hand over his sparse head of hair and put it back on. He coughed again and reached for a rotten fish. He started to sing, and I thought of temple hymns, and strangely I heard with a lucidity beyond language what he's saying. Seeds scattering, people, the world over, ways to make trees bear fruit. After Gong positioned the fish, after we filled in the holes, after we installed the anti-cat devices, we slowly unfolded from our crouches. Drenched in sweat, we stood over our work, grinning like parched dogs. Gong took off his cap and wiped his brow. We stood there underneath tiny, tiny motes of sunlight and down the rest of our water.